Hi, Tim here once again. Let's talk about sales today. So over the years, one thing I've noticed when I'm talking to businesses is that they tend to concentrate on the output they require. So what I mean by that is it tends to be a figure, if you like. So we want an extra £3,000 a week of sales, but they don't tend to spend as much time concentrating on the input. And by input, I mean the activity and other bits and pieces that are required to ensure that they get that desired output. Now, the problem with that is that we don't know what the output's going to be until we get to the end of that period. So if it's £3,000 a week, we don't know whether we're going to hit it or not until the end of the week. And that's why it's so important to work backwards and know what your inputs are, because you can measure them as you go along. So here's an example. Let's say, as I mentioned before, that we want an extra £3,000 a week coming into the business, whether it's via a salesperson or a sales department. So we need to break it down. We need to know first what our average sale is. So let's say it's £750. So if you want 3,000, you need another 4 sales per week. So how many sales meetings or calls are you going to need? Well, let's say, you close half of them. So you're going to need 8 sales calls or 8 meetings a week. How many decision makers are you then going to have to speak to get those 8 meetings? Let's say 1 in 10. So you're going to need to speak to 80 decision makers a week to get those appointments to make sales. So then how many leads are we going to need to actually get to talk to 80 decision makers? Let's say it's 2 out of 3. So you're going to need 120 leads or people to call a week to get your 4 sales and get your £3,000 a week. Now this is a bit sort of controversial, but I've always thought sales are actually really easy, because all sales is hitting hit ratios and working out hit ratios. The tricky part with sales is actually getting the individuals to undertake the activity that's required consistently to make the sales and to hit those ratios. So of course that needs managing. So first of all, it's absolutely essential that salespeople and sales teams have targets. They then need to be managed. So you need to be monitoring their activity, what they did last week, what they're on target for this week, and you need to be measuring all this via a dashboard. Now, the benefit as well of doing this is when you're measuring all this stuff, is that you start getting some really good data. So what I mean by that is you can start working out what each telephone call is worth to you, what each sales meeting is worth to you. So in this case, if we're getting 1 sale per 20 decision makers that we're approaching, we can say that for every time that we speak to a decision maker, it's worth £37.50. Every time we have a sales call, we actually sit in front of a decision maker and potentially going to sell something, it's worth £375. And this can help with your future planning and marketing, but it also motivates the sales team, because they can actually see value in the activity they're undertaking, and they can see that every time they make a call, they're getting closer to a yes. So then you can look at improving the process as well. So for an example, you can look at improving your conversion rates. So instead of 1 in 10, how can we get that to 1 in 8 or even 1 in 5? And when you do this, this is where things start compounding, and this is where serious growth can happen. So it's really important that you've got your inputs in place, and then your outputs will follow. As always, if I can help with your sales process or anything else in your company, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.